What's going on? What's going down? We here with a new episode of the New Hood Podcast. We here with the guys. We got Venom, aka Josh Nixon,
Hmm.
and we
What's
got
happening?
Shawn. What's
What's
good?
good?
And then you got myself, D Braxton. What's up, fellas?
What's happening?
All right.
Hey, brother. Chilling, recovering. You see the pressures in the background. You know what I'm
See
saying?
them? See them?
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. Well, that's what's up, man. We here with a new episode, man. We trying to stay consistent, so it's 2 weeks in a row. Hold
Ooh,
on.
look at us
I know,
on
What's
a
up,
right?
little
roll with it.
Sorry, I got a
Look.
kid talking to me in the
DJ?
background.
Shout out, little
Hey,
DJ.
hey, definitely. Hey, you
Hey,
gotta enjoy that. I wish my
real.
little boy was here. My little
Hey,
girl downstairs upset. She just don't
Yeah.
understand.
don't blame him.
Yeah, man.
I gotta be here with that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, man. We can. Do y'all got anything I want to promote before we get started?
I just want to say, shout out my pops. It's his birthday today. Man, shout out that young man.
Hey, shout out to my mom's. Her birthday was yesterday.
Shout out my.
That's her too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to make it out there for her
Mm,
birthday,
mm.
man.
Shout out
But
That's
Microsoft.
nah, for real. And the crazy part is I thought it had came back up because my mom-in-law, she did a turn the burn to come pick the boys up or whatever.
mhm.
So she flew out yesterday, or she flew in yesterday, my bad. And so I was like, oh, they must have fixed it. And then today they called her and was like, oh, your flight got canceled. So she had to book another one on the spot to get back. And
Mm.
she
Yep,
was able to get
I think some of them are being like I think some airlines kind of got a quick fix, but for the most part, yeah, it's like a large percentage is still shut down. So
Who'd
yeah,
you have yours through?
United. Yeah, I
Mm.
flew with United. I was about to change my flight, but then I seen all these other ones was delayed, and then even other airlines was delayed. And I had only bought a one way ticket, and I was gonna buy my ticket on the way back, but them prices shot through the roof. So they was
Man,
charging like 1,200, 2,400 for a flight. I'm like, nah, I just take my full refund for my little one way ticket. I'm like, I ain't even about to play with y'all, especially when flights are still getting canceled. So I was
right.
like, had to
Yeah, I
jump
heard
on.
Southwest was the only one that was still trucking and driving.
Yeah,
Which is
that's
crazy.
who she called because Delta. She had the original one through Delta, and then she was able to rebook through Southwest because Delta was going to go ahead and send her to Atlanta, but then it was like once you get to Atlanta, then you just stuck in Atlanta. So she was like, no, that's not going to work, especially with
Yeah,
a 1 year old and a 5 year old. That ain't going.
yeah, that shit was
Yeah,
chaos in there. I was glad it was just me, so I ain't had no issue really. I'm just watching watching shows on my iPad, but you could just see restless kids up in there. I'm like, nah. And then it wasn't no straight flight for me to get back, so it was ugly. I was like, nah, I ain't even about to take that risk. But
Yeah, you
but
take
yeah,
that L and get
anywho,
some random place.
yeah. But yeah. Shout out to mom. Shout out to pops. I do want to do
yep.
one other shout out. So I will, as y'all a lot. I mean, people who don't know, we in the military. But I was in the base exchange the other day, and there was a guy out there, a vendor, and he was selling these books, and it's like kids books, right? And the kids books is called My Military Family. So it's kind of like a
That's
play
nice.
on like basically the family, different people in uniforms, like also being superheroes. And then I thought it was also dope because the guy, who was selling it, I'm always gonna support black businesses, but also the imagery, is black people, pretty much anything you can think of in here. But I thought it was dope, so I was like, hey, let me get three of them things. Um,
That's what's up.
so yeah. So yeah, if you ever want to kind of check his stuff out, his site is hfcpublisher.com. So I mean, well, that's where you can purchase his stuff, hfcpublisher.com. You can find his books. But yeah, so I haven't gotten a chance to read it to my son yet, but we're gonna probably read it either tonight or the next night. But yeah, So yeah, check them out.
That's dope.
Bet,
But
bet, bet.
yeah. So let's get into the topics. Do we got a specific topic we want to get into first? I know I had my scenario. Sean got a scenario, and then some
Whatever
other
y'all want to
questions.
roll.
Who want to go
I can throw mine.
first?
I'll throw
Let's
mine out
go.
there. So I want to know. I want to get y'all's input. I want to know if I'm tripping, right? So as a father, as we all are, especially the black kids, melanated kids, um, my son was outside. This probably a couple months ago. It's another little kid down the street, white boy, and they playing, which is cool. I'm out there watching the car, doing my thing, whatever, and I see, they start playing cops and robbers, and of course my son's the
Uh
robber
oh.
and he's the cop, with Nerf guns and stuff, and he's like,
Mhm.
get on the ground, and so I told my son, like, nah, we not doing that or whatever. But the reason I wanted to propose it to y'all is I wanted to get y'all input on, because in my head I'm like, nah, we not doing this. Like, I shut it down, you know what I'm saying? But I also was battling with myself, or conflicted with myself, because I was like, am I overreacting, but in my head, I was just trying to, like, not even allow him to have that imagery in his head. Like, I don't even allow Nerf guns in the house, none of that. Like, we not, doing none of that. Like, you're not playing Call of Duty. I don't want you in here watching me while I'm playing Call of Duty. Like, I try to limit that as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just didn't know if, like, I was overreacting, or I just kind of want to see what y'all thought about
Hmm. Okay.
You want to go first, Josh, or you want me to
Yeah,
go?
yeah, sure. I'll go. For me, I don't think you were overreacting because it's just a different precedent than we are. Like, of course, we all used to play it, but now just seeing how things unfold, I don't think it's a good stigma to teach kids. Because like even like now, like my kids know. Well, my oldest son, my youngest is 3, so he don't know. They know I have guns in the house. They know not to touch them. They know not to play because my guns are loaded. So it's not even a try to see if it's because the thing is, if they don't learn from me, they gonna learn from somebody, especially now
it.
at
Right.
school. So going in, so I don't want them to, because I've learned, because my daughter is 16, so her it was get straight guinea pig, right? So learning what to do as a parent, things to do, and what I've learned, the more I try to like just shield them from it, and not give them a reason why I'm doing stuff. Then they go to their friends and they piece it up and be like, oh, that's why this completely wrong. So I don't think that's wrong because one, I would explain not even that just to both of them why. Like I don't want to just make it seem like the other kids because my son has a friend that come over and I'm not gonna lie, you could see it's two different households how they're brought up. And so I tell them, hey, come here real quick. I understand, but in my house we're gonna do all this right around. We're gonna throw balls at the walls. We're gonna do that, and then I give my reason why. So I say, hey, this is why. Then they be like, oh, we'll go outside. Then another instance, they'll be like, hey, we go play baseball, but then they're playing baseball while throwing balls like towards the neighbor house and stuff. So I'm like, hey, real quick, y'all come here. Why y'all come to my house to do this? Oh, my dad said he didn't want us to break the windows. Again, so why you come to my house then? Like we ain't got the same windows. So
Right.
and it's just I think just understanding and explaining because there's so many other games that they can play. I just don't like if that's cool, we can both be cops. Let's use our imagination. We can find the bad guy. So I'm just saying, like, it don't have to be that way. DJ, what you got?
Yeah. I mean, it really just depends. Like, I know you were saying, like, with the imagery and all that stuff. And yeah, I guess it's something I ain't had to deal with, so it's kind of hard for me to really like grasp it. Mainly because yeah, when we was growing up, we might have played it, but we also probably grew up around a lot of people that looked like us. So there's never like this. There's no
Stigma.
component to it. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no like programming where people just automatically assume you're going to be the cop and you're going to be the cop and I'm gonna be the robber. You know what I'm saying? So it is kind of hard to like for real put yourself in the shoes of that. So yeah, I probably would discourage it and be like, nah, let's find another game to play. And maybe even have a little bit. I mean, I don't want to go into no whole like history lesson because that might be the furthest thing from their mind. And like for instance, like my son, when it comes to my son really does love Spider-Man, but for some reason he really does love all the villains. Like the Green Goblin is like one of his favorite characters. So like also I don't think that's any programming. He just really
Yeah.
likes the villains of the show. So I'm like, I don't want to like ruin it for him because I'm thinking that I'm preventing something that may not even be there.
Fact.
So maybe, yeah, maybe I probably would discourage it, but I probably wouldn't go too deep into it for a little while. So it just really depends on the age. But I mean, them kids gonna play them type of games. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
ain't there and they outside doing, they gonna probably do it at school. They gonna, you know what I'm saying. So like, I guess the better option is just always making sure that you having conversations to
yeah.
like deter them from always feeling like, deter them from being the victim in the situation. Like
Gotcha.
have them in their mind always like this is what I like. That's not, even if you did make me the robber. It's like nah, I want to be the cop this time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
make them understand why it's okay to be that. You know what I'm saying? Or make them understand that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It ain't. It depend on the age why I would or wouldn't find offense to it, and why I would or wouldn't like kind of move that around. But it's also why I also want my kids, as much as I want him to be around everybody, I also want him to be around people that look like him, cause so I don't always have to be on the defense like that, you know.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's easier to not have to deal with that because everybody in the house black. You know what I'm saying? So,
Facts.
but at the same time, like some of my really really good friends are not black. So I mean,
Same thing.
so I don't know. That's why sometimes it's easier when you don't got to have those conversations. But then also, like, do I really want to make a big deal out of this? Is this something like? Because I feel like all of this stuff is programming. Me being offended sometimes, I feel like that's programming because people want you to always feel like you got to be a victim in this situation. Like, nah, I mean, we just having we just 3 year olds, 5 year olds having fun.
Yeah.
I feel like robbing people today.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like robbing them. You know, that's nothing to do with me being black. Or you are like, but also like if that's always the case, and it's like, why are y'all? Why do y'all always do it like that? Having that conversation with your kid. Why are you always doing? You should be. There's okay with the image of you being the positive version of it. I'm gonna encourage you to be the cop, next time. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like always throwing a full on Black Panther type of
Mhm.
rant. Because I mean, I think sometimes if you don't know how to make it always, you don't know how to make it palatable. Sometimes kids just automatically like tune it out.
Fact.
So I don't know.
I agree,
But yeah,
man.
definitely, you definitely not about to always be the robber. If I see that, I'm like, nah, y'all gonna go play for something else. We ain't doing that. You know. But yeah, that's actually a good question though.
Yes.
I'm hoping I never have to deal with those type of things.
Oh, you could.
I'm sure I will, but dang. But yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It
Okay.
wasn't bad.
All right. So I'm gonna jump into mine.
Go ahead.
Scenario. A family member of mine posted this on Facebook. I'm not gonna read out the whole status because it was long, so I'm just gonna paraphrase what she had on here. So the scenario was basically 13-year-old daughter and her so you got a 13-year-old daughter. Your daughter is 13. So let's just, I know y'all may have older or younger, but
Hmm.
let's just assume you have a 13-year-old daughter. All right. Her best friend is now pregnant, who's also 13. The friend has been pretty close to the family for the most part since they were like very young. And the family of the pregnant girl decides to do a baby shower. Do you allow your 13-year-old daughter to attend the baby shower? Why or why not? Starting with you, Shawn, because I think you started the question the last time. So, what you think?
Uh, Off the top of my head, I'm gonna say no. Like, um, yeah, I'm gonna say no. And I don't really have a strong answer for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I have no justification. It's just like a no.
Does it?
Like,
Does
I
it?
ain't even gonna lie to you. You
So
said
when
what,
you
bro?
say no, is it because it like gives off the wrong image? Is it like you think it encourages your daughter to do these type of things, or what's your reasoning like in that
I,
sense?
I don't know, but just something like in my head tells me that a bunch of, because I would imagine, because baby showers is typically your peers, right? So like I would imagine that it's just a room full of 13-year-old kids around this 13-year-old pregnant girl. Like I'm not saying y'all can't be friends or nothing like that, but I just don't think that that's an appropriate setting for y'all, like for my 13-year-old child. You know,
Okay.
theoretically speaking,
Yeah.
not that it's a bad thing. Well, it is kind of a bad thing. I'm not gonna say that, but um, you know, not that it's something that the pregnant young girl should be punished for or anything like that. But just personally for my child, I just
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
And would your answer change if it was like the family is throwing this, like the mom and dad decided, they're not. You don't know the full details on how they feel, but just assuming you probably know that they're not happy about it, but they still decide to do a baby shower. Um, and it's basically family. Maybe it is some friends, but yeah, family and friends. Would you then go? Would you then allow? Yes or no?
I don't know. I think it's one of those things that is dependent upon the circumstances, you know, like it's a theoretical. Because if
Yeah.
it's just, you know, a classmate that, you know, she done hung out with a couple times before or whatever, and they trying to then like out the gate, like no. But if it's somebody that's like spent some, you know, significant time in my house, you know, real close with her family and stuff like that,
Hmm.
then I would probably go, but I would have to have a conversation, you know, like we spoke with about earlier or whatever. Just have to have a conversation with, you know, my daughter, like, hey, look, you know, this is the real life seriousness behind, you know, your actions. Like, you know, this
Hmm.
is what can come behind you, you know, having, you know, sex. Um, and I think that would also like further solidify just having that conversation about the importance of sex education that we talked about in the last pile for anybody that watched and stuff. Just early sooner rather than later. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So I think that'd be a perfect time for a teaching moment. But I
Mhm.
think it's just one of those things. Ultimately, it's just one of those things where it's dependent upon the circumstances. So
But you
I
did say
want to
that
say,
you could still be friends with the girl. Is what you're saying?
yeah, yeah. I think I would have to see the, you know, the dynamics of it. If I seen some funny stuff going on, you know, like it started to get a little bit too, you know, wild or too uncomfortable for my comfort, then I'd have to nip that in the bud. But
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to penalize her, because I wouldn't want my child to feel penalized, you know, if the shoe was on the other foot. You know what I'm saying? Granted,
Yeah.
I think it's going to automatically deter that relationship just as it is, because you're not going to be able to go to Cindy Lou's 13th, 14th birthday party or whatever, because, you know, you're going to be at home taking care of this child. Like,
Right.
because that's just going to be the type of parent, you know, if, you know, God forbid, but if that's a scenario that's placed on us, you're gonna be at home taking care of this child. Like I'm gonna help you, but this is your responsibility. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So, um, yeah, I mean, I don't know, bro. I think that's a toughie. I think it's a
Okay.
toughie.
Okay. Josh, what you got?
I mean, for me, it's kind of different because I basically lived this scenario. So for me, it's like, yeah, like she can go, but the simple fact is, especially if, like Shawn said, if they're family friends, of course, because but one, it'll have to be the family throwing it, and my daughter wouldn't just be going by herself. Because at
Facts.
the same time, it's me already instilling those things with her, and as if she's a friend, like she says she is, I would want her to be there for a friend. Because for us, going through that was like a very tough time, and that baby shower was that one only bright moment where it looked like everyone was happy, but then soon you left, it was right back to reality, knowing like, hey, like, did we lose some friends? Of course you lost friends. But it was at the same time the friends that stepped with, like, as new me, know, like, I wasn't that friend that was trying to push you. Don't do what I do. Don't do like this or anything like this. So for me, it's like, yeah, like, you can go.
Yeah.
But, and I wouldn't even say, like, can't be friends, but just know, like, and that's where I hope that, what we've instilled in you, but come to light and show. Because I've realized like no matter how much you do, how much you tell kids don't do nothing, you're not around 24/7. And it would be nice to think like all our kids are angels. It's just not the case.
Yeah.
So that's why I say yeah for me. And like I said,
Okay. And then
yep.
you were how old when you had?
So 15 when she was pregnant. So she had a baby shower at 15, and she was born when I was 16.
Okay,
But I
gotcha.
even think that's a different realm too. Like, 16 to 13. We'll just say 16 because that's when
Oh shit.
baby girl got here. But I say 16 to 13 is a different realm too. Like, I don't know. Like, not saying that, oh,
Got
16 is
my
okay for you to
opinion.
go out and have a baby. That's not what I'm saying by any means or whatever. But I think the development stages for me personally, like where I was at, I think it was a different. I was at a different, zone then too. 16, I'm working, like
Yeah,
putting in, hours, like my mindset's changing. But 13, I was just in
yeah,
a different space, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. So for me, I said no. I said absolutely not. Right. So my cousin, she made the status right, and she like the post had like 100 and something comments.
Right.
And it was like, the comments range from like hell no to yeah I would, and some of the stuff that Josh just said, it kind of resonated with me because some of the stuff that people were like responding, they like, yeah, the person is gonna need a village, and like that baby shower is gonna show you like who's gonna be in your village when it come to helping raising that child. And some of them were like, "Hey," a lot of people that caught offense were like, you could tell they were people who had kids at a young age, and and they were like, "Oh, these comments are killing me because y'all don't understand how dark of a place your life hasn't ended," and blah blah blah. And I was just like, nah. I was like, yeah, absolutely not. I was like, but then again, it also depends on the environment. So similar to what Shawn said. I said, if it's the family understands, hey, this happened. We're gonna do something at our house. If y'all wanna come bring gifts, we appreciate it. Fine, and I like really do. But if it's like the extravagant, like
Oh yeah.
how new age type baby showers where mom is all dolled up and dad had got his,
The barber.
Burberry
Yeah,
outfit
yeah. We'll
on.
zoom to that. We'll zoom call to
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I was like, that's where I would be like, that's where it would be an absolute no. If it's like I said, if it's a small, intimate thing where it's like, hey, come if y'all don't mind, what I'm saying, because that like I would absolutely, because my thought process was, okay, you've known this girl for a long time, so obviously, if my daughter has a friend that she's known for 10 plus since they was let's say in diapers, that's probably like my little niece.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, if it's a small event, of course I'm gonna come over. We're gonna drop off a gift. I'm gonna be there. I'm not
Got
dropping
you.
my daughter off just to go to a what's the name.
Got you.
But I was like, but if it's like this big event, no. And even if it wasn't an intimate event and somebody decided not to, I would understand because, like I said to them, we like yes, I want that baby to feel loved on. I want that girl that got pregnant, and even the boy who got a girl pregnant. I want them to feel supported and loved on. But at the end of the day, my ultimate allegiance is to my child, and I have a
Facts.
job to do. So I got to
Right.
make sure that I'm, you know, informing my child, making sure certain imagery is not normalized for them, certain like behaviors and patterns and stuff like that is not normalized. So like, yes, that happens. Teen pregnancy happens, but like if I had a close relationship with that family, I would almost be going over to pops like, "Hey, bro, you got me having to tell my daughter she can't come to this event because y'all want to have this big lavish themed what's the name when like realistically if she's 13 and pregnant that means she's probably 12 years old,
Yeah.
13 years old having sex." And what Shawn said really is how I felt like it, like yeah, 16, 15, 16. That's not normal and it's not okay to get pregnant, but I would be more understanding because I'm like 15 years old, you a freshman in high school, 16 years old, freshman, sophomore in high school, hormones and got the best of you. But when I think of a 12 and 13-year-old, I'm like, we're talking about middle school kids, not only like just messing around a little bit, but like full on having intercourse regularly. And I'm like, if this is my daughter, I'm going to be sick to my stomach. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, dang, 14 and 15, 15 and 16, 14 to 18 year olds, it's hard to like for real have eyes on them every day, all day. 12, 13, I mean, 12, well, 13 and under, as a parent that's there every day, I feel like yeah, having those eyes on them, like those are in extremely important times. So it's like it's hard for me to justify saying like, yeah, you can't, yeah, you just can't be around. Because I know when I was as somebody who jumped off the porch at a very 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 young age, I one thing I can tell you for sure was the reason why I was able to do that because we were not being monitored correctly. Like that's just the honest to God truth. There's no reason why I was 12, 13 years old in the neighborhood that I was in unattended outside at 10, 11, 12 o'clock. So like, these type of things kind of run in my mind when I think about it. So, and I was telling people, I was like, people, because the people that, just because you said no, people were getting offended. I'm like, this isn't for
I wouldn't
anybody.
be mad if somebody say no.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not for anybody personally. It's just I have a job as a parent, and this is me doing what I think is the best like option
for my
for me.
child.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying don't ever speak to that because you definitely can be friends with that little girl going forward. You definitely can, even if she decides she wants you to be the godmom. I might say, I
Yeah,
don't
hey,
know. I might not.
ooh, godmom.
Yeah, I might not like it, but I'm gonna have
She
a
can't even take
conversation
care of
like,
herself. What you
you
talking about?
this baby. I like,
Yeah.
maybe it's an actual godmom that can actually help out. But like, yeah, it's just I'm not gonna sever a relationship for it, but I am gonna be a little like, hey, you you understand like this person's life is completely altered going forward. They got to make a lot of decisions going forward like that don't involve them. Like I mean, a lot of these decisions for themselves are strictly based on another life.
Child.
You know what I'm saying? So like, that's the type of like, at 13, it's like you don't even have the opportunity to even go to prom once. You know what I'm saying? You might not get to go to prom because you got a kid to take care of. You might not get to go to college the way you would like to go to college because you got a child to take care of. Like these are the conversations that I will be having with her. But yeah, man. I think one of our issues though, because a lot of people that were arguing against it were people that I know of that have multiple kids at a young age or have multiple kids by different people with no commitment. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why these things happen is because we continue to normalize like bad decisions. Yes, having a child underage is a bad decision. That don't mean it's the end of your life. That don't mean it's, what I'm saying, you're a complete mess up. But when we make it so normal, then I think it becomes to lower our like if we make it so normal as a community, like the one time it happened, like Josh having a baby, Josh as the only person in the neighborhood having a baby at a young age is okay. But when it becomes a thing, we look around and it's 1,000 different people in the neighborhood that's having that. We like, oh, that's okay, team. Like, no, we gotta be like, yeah, Josh had a baby at a young age, and he'll tell you that was hard for him at a young age. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus
Like, you know
Christ.
what I mean? But I feel like we get so wrapped up in like not wanting to make these conversations awkward like amongst our friends and stuff. It's like, man, and that's when these patterns and these teen pregnancy is so high now because we done made it so normal to throw these big lavish parties or to act like it's okay. It's like, no, it's not okay, but it's going to be okay. The
Gotcha.
decision was not okay, but it's going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. We're going to you're going it's going to be hard for you. It's going to be hard for me now as your parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know what I mean? Like those type of things. It's just where I'm like, man, I just hate it because I'm like, this is why if you look around and you got 1,000 different kids, whether you a man or a woman, because this is not specific to men or women, but when you got a bunch of different kids and you've never had any real commitment, like it's because you're normalizing bad behavior. You know what I'm saying? You normalizing patterns that, yeah, I shouldn't have did that, but guess what? Going forward, I'm not going to do that again. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make sure I'm committing to certain situations. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. And that's not to shun nobody or nothing like that, because I understand, like, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. I talk to people all the time where they thought they was with the right person, and then it just didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? So that's not to judge nobody, but I feel like a lot of the issues that we have in our community is because we normalize, you know, bad decisions to make it seem like, oh, okay, it's going to be okay. Of course, it's going to be okay. But we also need to focus on why it wasn't okay to make that decision. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Thanks.
Bring back shame.
Yes.
Like Josh, tell me if I'm lying. When you had to go tell your parents that you had your ex-wife pregnant, um, there was a little bit of, they was like, "Are you serious?" I'm sure they was like a
What?
little upset with you. You know what I'm saying?
Little.
Like there
They
was
tried to kill me.
exactly. But I feel like into this baby daddy, baby mama culture, and you married. You know what I'm saying? You eventually married. Granted, you know it ain't all everybody business, but you eventually married your child.
Mhm.
We have people who want to normalize these type of behaviors and patterns and stuff like that, and like act like this is okay. You know what I'm saying? There
Yeah.
needs to be a certain shame around that. Like, damn, my daughter, my son fucked up. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And like now we gotta, I'm like, even when you talking to people, yeah, we figuring it out, you know what I'm saying? Obviously I gotta take care of my kid and my grandkid and da da da. But it's so many people like, yeah, you know, she having a kid and da da da. And oh, how old is she? Yeah, I know she young, but you know, it's not told her it's not the end of the world. Well, duh, motherfucker. But why ain't the alarms flashing on this? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man.
Yeah,
But
no.
I also think too, like another one of the problems with it is not um rectifying irresponsible behavior, like you said. But also too, I feel like a lot of these children get off with a pass. Like the kids having kids, they get off with a pass as far as like the baby come home and then it's like your sibling. It's not your child. Like no, if you do that in my house, even for my son, like even if my son has a child, you know, at a young age or whatever, you gonna have that baby just as much as she is, if not more. You know what I'm saying? Like you are going to raise that child. That's nobody else's responsibility but yours, and you know whoever the significant other or the other individual was.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that you need to, if you want to be, you know, you're gonna be responsible in my house regardless
Yeah.
of any decisions that you do. Like I'm not gonna cater or tolerate irresponsibleness or anything like that. So I think we just have to, like you said, bro, just hold everyone accountable, like
Mhm.
in all regards, like the
Yeah.
children, the parents. If your child is 12 13 years old and pregnant, the parents need to be held responsible, because there's no reason that your child at 13 years old should have any opportunity to be out here getting pregnant. Like
Yeah.
there's just no reason. Like like you said, like they're not being supervised properly, like
Yeah.
that, just point blank period.
Yeah. And a lot of people was basically saying like, yeah, I would let my child go because it's not like, I don't think that this is going to encourage my daughter or my, you know, whoever, my son to get somebody pregnant or my daughter to get pregnant. And I was like, see, I don't think that the problem is encouraging somebody to get pregnant. I don't think
Right.
for the most part, I don't think kids see another kid pregnant and like, ooh, I want that too. I don't think it's like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's that at all. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like recklessness is like not being looked at as recklessness. It's like, you know, everybody just like this whole coming together because they're like, oh, you got to be a village. And I'm like, yeah, you got to be a village. But that don't mean that we got to go celebrate like bad behavior. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you decide to have that, you know what I'm saying? Because as a parent, I'm not even saying it's a horrible decision to do. It's just as other parents, I would say that I understand why those parents who don't have that problem would say, "Hey, hey, we would definitely order something off your registry, and we definitely want y'all to feel blessed and all that. Please don't cut us off because we didn't show up. But I don't want my daughter like, hey, maybe as the parents, hey, look, I'm gonna get the gift. We gonna go. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna hold her hand and tell her, hey, we got you. But you ain't bringing your ass. No, you can't because this is what adults go to. I don't see usually. I don't usually.
Yeah, I'm about
Well,
to say I didn't get to go. My mama went.
yeah. Kids usually don't go to baby showers. But that's the thing. If you look now though, a lot of these baby showers, it's kids there.
It's
It's
like
you
a
know what I'm
party.
saying? And I think yeah, it's a whole party and shit. There's no like this whole village thing, it's not even like being talked about like, oh, as a village. It's just like a rite of passage now. It's like, oh yeah, we have to do a baby shower. Come on, dollar up, do a fucking Burberry themed baby shower. It's like no, it's like
Nah,
there,
the
there's
village come.
yeah, the village part should be talked about in that conversations. I mean, in that during that event. So I don't know,
I
man. That's
think
just how I look at it.
even with that, I think the village comes before. Like, but why does it? Is it only the village is supposed to come after a negative action?
Right.
It takes a village afterward. You know, the child gets pregnant. It takes a village after a child's lost their life. It takes a village afterwards. But if we had that village prior to, then we probably could have nipped all that. Like, changed
Yep.
the trajectory of whatever that scenario may have been.
Yep. Because that
If the
same people at
neighbor
that
would have
village should have
seen.
been watching. Yep.
Right. That's what I'm exactly. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I know every circumstance that all sounds good on a surface level. You know what I'm saying? It's all sounds easier said than done. Um, and like I said, true. Like I understand mistakes happen. Like even if you purposely not, like not understanding, like, hey, if I do this, she's going to get pregnant. But at the end of the day, kids that age don't really, even adults really don't fully comprehend that
Comprehend
until
that.
like when you're in the moment. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, but I still feel like as a parent, there's a certain amount of responsibility that I have as an outsider to be like, listen, baby, I want to be there for them and we will be there, but we won't be attending that. You cannot go to that. Or maybe I'll go, but your ass is not going because that's not for children. And y'all realistically, you're a child and she's also a child. So the people that really need to be there for her are adults helping her learn along the way. You as a 13-year-old, there's nothing that this person gains from you being there at all. Now, us being there as adults that's been there before, absolutely. But you need to learn that when you get older, you're gonna realize my parents didn't want me to be there because they want me to understand the seriousness of this. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But that's all I had on that one. But I think that was a good conversation.
Yeah,
Uh, but this next one, I think this was Sean. You had this next topic, the
Um,
the one about marriage and how you want me to
oh
introduce it?
that was me. So I was just wondering, what's a component that you guys have done that has helped you hold your marriage together thus far? Like, what's something that you feel like is almost essential in your marriage?
Mm,
It's like got y'all to this point. Because I mean, at this point, everybody's been in this thing for a good little
yeah,
length of
compromise.
time.
Compromise.
I like that.
I about to say. I'll say that's the biggest things. Of course, as we got older. Like, of course, once you get older, you stop letting stuff go. Like, if it's really not a deal breaker for me, it's like, all right, cool. If I ask you if you upset, you tell me no. I take your word for it, G. Not about to. I'm not about to keep
you said
asking
it's
all
all
day.
right.
Yeah, you say, hey, it's good. If I feel like, hey, we at that point where if it's nothing, do if it's something, you'll come talk to me. I feel I've made it a good space to where if I do something, then also, I've learned to listen. Like we start listening instead of where it used to. And this is mostly on me. I ain't gonna lie to you. You'll tell me something wrong. I've already got to come back in my head waiting. I've
Hmm.
been waiting for you to say some shit. Okay. Because now let me tell you about these clothes over here. So it's like, but I'm about to say compromise, just giving and taking, like knowing. Then once you see that, like it makes me even want to like do stuff. Like I tell everyone, I hate going outside. Everyone knows this. But now it got to the point where even she, like, she's knowing she's cool. She's like, no, I'm gonna take the kids to the park. But it's like seeing her wonder. It's like, no, I'm gonna come too. And so it's just that compromise. And I say that's definitely been the biggest thing for us.
Yeah, I would say Because I think it's two things, but I think it's the same thing basically: grace and understanding. Like you giving that person grace because you understand, like every day you ain't gonna be the best version of yourself, or even the best husband or best wife. You know what I'm saying? So like just giving that person grace and understanding that, like, just because it's a bad day, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
yeah, sometimes it's, we this might just be a bad day. Sometimes it might be a bad week.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
might be going through a rough patch. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, that I mean, especially with me, because I know how I can be sometimes, man. Sometimes I just don't. I socially, I'm just as I can be a very social person, and then once that's gone, I don't want to be social at all. Like, and you know what I'm saying? So like sometimes I like, even through text message with people, like I just disappear because I'd be like, I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like being dealt with. You know what I'm saying? So like, I guess if anybody that know me, they know I can kind of be like that. So just imagine a person that's in the same house with me having to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So like being understanding of that is very important. So I guess is a component that's kind of like, yeah, made like ours continue to hold together. Cause yeah, especially now the more and more responsibilities and rank and stuff I get at work, like by the time I get off of work, because I have to deal with people daily, I just be like kind of like tuned out, So like, just yeah, just giving that grace and that understanding that like you ain't gonna always be at 100%, but knowing also the just because somebody give you grace and give you understanding with that, don't necessarily mean it's gonna last forever. You know what I'm saying? So eventually you're gonna have to clean it up and be able to come back around and be like, hey, my bad. I've been kind of absent a little bit mentally and all that stuff is just because I'm tired, you know what I'm saying? But I'm about to take some days off so I can kind of recharge, so I can be that person for y'all, just like I gotta be at work. Because at work you do it. You know what I'm saying? At
Nah,
work
facts.
you find some way to get it in there, get it, pull it out yourself to be social and be understanding with that. So you can't not do it at home. You know what I'm saying? But it's easier to do that at home,
No, no,
you know,
facts.
which I can literally say I'm a victim of that. I'll do that all the time. It's like, yeah, I know I gotta pull it out of me for work, but then at home you'd be like, so this is a place where I hope I don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, no, you kind of do though, because you know what I'm saying. They married that social person, that understanding person, that loving person. They didn't marry the introvert, off putting, sometimes even like snappy, mean person. That's not the person they married. You know what I'm saying? So you cannot always be that person. They are understanding that that's, hey, that they can be that way just like how you are, but like that can't be the norm for you.
Not
So
completely
yeah,
agree.
grace and understanding is what it was for us. What about you, Sean?
So well, before I give my response, well, I follow up with it afterwards. For me, I think the biggest thing is being able to have the insight to uh, understand where she's coming from. Um, just because she may say that she's upset about this, but there may be something that like has been bothering. Because before, like Josh said before, when we get into a dispute or something like that, she say, well, I've been telling you, X, Y, and Z. And I'd be like, well, I feel like you ain't do X, Y, and Z. So now we both wrong. You know what I'm saying? But being able to take that time to, or have that ability to actually sit and, like Josh said, listen to what she's saying and reflect on it and be like, well, actually, I did come home the other day and she told me to stop walking through the house in my muddy boots. And I should have just took them off and put them by the door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just simple stuff to eliminate, those bigger instances, just to let her know that she's heard. Because
Facts.
especially knowing the background, something that she's voiced to me is like, she hasn't always felt heard in childhood and everything else or whatever. So to be having be making her relive that same thing that she had an issue with. Um, even though it's not a big deal to me, it may be something small like, oh, I ain't take my boots off, my bad. It may be triggering something else or whatever. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So just being able to take heed and kind of address things as need be, really.
No, good.
No, that's solid, solid, solid.
Did it take
Um,
y'all? I will say, how long did it take y'all to get there? Like you said, we all been in this thing about 10 plus. Like what? Like how long? 'Cause I ain't gonna lie, it took me
Brother,
it took
it's
me a
still a
good
work in
bit, brother.
progress. It's I'm
yeah, it's
still working on it.
definitely
I ain't
a work
perfected it yet.
progress. Yeah, yeah, because I mean, shit, transparency is like, transparency moment is like, yeah, shit, I'm through it now, trying to like get myself back into that. Like, hey, you can't always be annoyed with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not them, it's work. You know what I'm saying? Work is what's annoying you. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's definite. But like, what? Like, I guess probably the the moment where I realized that that's was something that's holding it together and something that I gotta continue to work on. It took probably about 5 years because that
Yeah, I was about
first
to
year
say,
was
yeah.
rough.
I
First
say
year was rough.
first two.
Yeah,
I ain't think
yeah.
I ain't think
First
it was
two
gonna
really,
work that though.
really for us, it was year two. First year was
Okay.
actually pretty good, actually
Oh,
very good. But year two was extremely rough, I think. And then yeah, I think yeah around year five, which is crazy
yeah.
because that's like right around the time where we was almost where we was about to have a kid too.
Hmm.
So maybe that played a part in it. I don't know, but yeah, yeah. About year five is when I started to realize like this person is showing you grace and understanding. You got to do the same, and maybe I'm sure maybe it's some part. I can only speak from
Yeah,
my
yeah.
standpoint.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe she may have a different answer, and same thing for y'all. Y'all wise probably got a different answer on what component is for them. But like, yeah, that's yeah, it was about around year five is when I was really conscious of it. I guess is the word I was looking for. I was very conscious of it around that time frame, and I was like, oh, okay, this is important. It very important because if she didn't give me that grace understanding, she probably would have got the fuck on,
Nah,
or she
facts.
probably would have giving me the same energy that I was giving,
That
and
was
it
worse.
just would have been like oil and water. You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah.
saying? It just wasn't a mix. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and like I said, I'm sure on her, she has some component for her that holds it together on her end for me. So, yeah,
That's
yep.
dope.
I was gonna ask, when did you? And this is kind of like a spinoff of what you said, DJ. Uh, when do you think that like that irritableness comes into play? Do you think it just came with like the responsibilities of like life? Because I mean, if you think back about 5, 10 years ago in that range, it was kind of like I don't remember having that, that quick to become like irritable, I guess you could say. But
I
it's
kind of
like
always been like that.
for real. I don't think I had it,
Yeah,
bro. It's just
Yes,
like
I
I just
just
was.
one day it's like everything just like you blow at me wrong, like you look at me wrong, then it's like okay, you irritate me. Like
yeah.
Are you saying like in
It,
marriage or just like in irritability
no,
just
no, 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 not like just in particularly with marriage or whatever, but just like
when did it start
in
affecting that
general.
though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
mm,
I think you know what. My bad for interrupting, but mine gonna be quick. I think it's just the from like the fact that like y'all around each other, y'all everything becomes so like combined. Whereas like so like everything that they do affects you, everything you do affects them. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's early on because yeah, when you get married, like everything changes. Not everything changes because a lot stays the same, but like once that becomes the like normal, your new norm sets in, then like yeah, it becomes what they do affects you and what you do affects them more like frequently. So I don't know specifically when, but I think once it sets in that like y'all really like I'm here, you're here, we're not going nowhere. Like I think that's when certain things that and it's not them. I don't think it's them.
No,
It's
no, no,
just
no.
it's
I
just
don't think
life.
so
Yeah,
either.
like I think it's just life, and then yeah, like
But I was
if I
just
was
thinking back. Oh my bad. Go ahead. Go
no
ahead.
no you good what you saying?
No, I was just thinking back, and I was like, that I don't remember, having that, being irritated, coming from, off the job or whatever the case may be, coming home, you know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
prior to even when we worked together, in those early stages and stuff like that. But what you
Yeah,
said definitely makes sense. Like once
yeah,
you are a unit for real, like
hmm,
solidified, you're not in that
yeah.
what they call it, the honeymoon phase or
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And
Um
that's it right there. That's it right there. It's because you what you really saying is when you saying you don't remember it, it's because to a certain extent you kind of performing. You know what I'm saying? Because you like this who you want. This who you want to be around you. This who you want to be with. All that. So like yeah, you take a deep breath, do it all that, and then you call and be like, "What you up to?" You take a deep breath. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm gonna pull up. Like you ain't, but like there's no take a deep because that person gonna be there regardless. You know what I'm saying? So I
right.
think that's why I say because it becomes that new norm. So like you don't take a deep breath and then call that person because they in the room right with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't take a deep breath and go see what they up to because they right here probably talking to you. You know what I mean? So it becomes that part of it becomes so normal. So like you used to like being able to when you get off work because that my most of my annoyance and frustration comes from work shit. So like
Right,
you
right, right.
like once you usually decompress, go to your room, shower, blah blah, then be like, oh, what you up to? Or even if I'm texting, it's like because I'm up to something. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm talking about. Like once you take off the like once the yeah the honeymoon phase,
Frustration wears
yeah.
off.
Hmm. So yeah, I think that's
Nah,
what.
that
My
makes
bad,
sense.
Josh. Though, what you got, bro?
No, I was about to say, noticing, I guess, like the first time, like I noticed, like, far as the irritability to where it's like going home, I didn't want to talk was joining the military. And it was more me. Putting on the perception of like, hey, this is me, it became where if I didn't talk, if I didn't do this, people assumed something was wrong. And that always
Mhm.
led to problems with me because that's when I learned about perception. Perception is reality. That's the biggest thing they preach in the military. So now, whether I'm happy, mad, somebody, like I have to put on this act. If not, then all of a
Yeah.
sudden I'm not working hard.
Mhm.
All of a sudden,
Yeah.
oh, he hates it here. Oh, he does this. And then so coming home, it was like me being on the couch. It was like I'm in a good mood. I just don't feel like talking. And like
Mhm.
Braxton said, like you've been used to this person, so now it's like, okay, well, why do they get like? Why do you choose them, me? And then it was like, damn. And then in marriage, just noticing, I think like my frustration came from one me trying to apply things from my first marriage that didn't work out, but the biggest thing is trying to compare it to my parents' marriage because that's what I seen, and then realizing like they didn't have a great marriage at all. So,
Well, I ain't say that. I was saying I was comparing that to my grandparents, man, so I
yeah,
can definitely feel that. Yeah,
yeah. So
you notice
just
that. Yeah, you and then you find out even then you don't
yeah,
agree.
because you find out like, okay, what works for them, like even some things like, okay, I couldn't put up with the things that they did and I wouldn't expect a wife to do. So it's kind of like, damn, okay. So then I'm like, so I'm starting from scratch. So then it's like, okay, I'm really throwing shit at the wall at this point. Like, okay, okay, so you want me to do this, so you expect me to do this. Well, why? And then I'm asking questions. I'm like, that don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then she's comparing it too. So then that's when we finally realized like we scrapped everything. Was like, what do like we want?
Mm-hmm.
Like not from our parents. Like what do we want? And once we started doing that, like shit got amazing. I'm still irritable though. I don't want to get that twisted.
Yeah,
I
I
don't want to. I don't
definitely.
want to get that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like Braxton said, now it's just I went from being like I shouldn't have to feel like to do this at home to it's like nah, like I'm not gonna put on a complete act where I'm out here shucking and driving. But at the same time, it's no reason like my son come up to me and I'm like, hey, what you want? Like nah, I'm be like, hey, what's good, Papa? Cool, yeah, nah. But it's still
Hmm.
like to give them the same energy because they do deserve that and they have no reason
Yeah, and they ain't did nothing to piss you
at
off.
all.
It's like,
He
it's like,
really
it's
came
like,
and asked, like, "Hey, you mind
mhm.
if I go outside?"
Like,
You
man,
wanna
what
go
do you
outside?
want? Like,
Hey, Ashton.
sure, but yeah, nah, it's just that, yeah, it's hard, it's hard, and it's like, yeah, I think just the fact that I deal with so many people is what irritates me more than anything. I have to deal with so many people daily, so I have to like. It's not that I'm not necessarily annoyed. It's just social battery is completely drained. You know what I'm
No
saying? Because like
facts.
I was just saying, you got to put on it. Like, hey, yeah, or somebody saying something stupid, and I don't even and truthfully, I don't even put on that voice. But like just having to just knowing like somebody might be coming in your office with like some for real issues, and I gotta like for real, I can't be an asshole because that might be that person's last time coming to you. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Because you turned them off. You know what I'm saying? You sent them off. So you gotta sit there and listen and digest it and shit, and you do that shit all day or all week. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody come with some unrealistic expectation, and you either got to explain why it don't work, or you got to figure out a way to make it work. Or you got to lead people and tell them your expectations. So by the time you get done with all that, you be like, want to come home and really just tune out everything for a hot second. You know what I'm saying? But you only got so many hours in a day. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's why everything is being set up for like a few more years from now. It's getting very, very close. I see the light at the end of the tunnel that all that shit's done. All of that's done. Well, like, and you got 6.5 more years of that because once that 6.5 years go, my next career field is going to be what I love doing. And even if it's not what I love doing, you only get 8 hours of my day. You don't get 10. You know what I'm saying? Like what the military getting from me now. You get 8. And it might not even be a full 8. So yeah. And I'm not taking nothing home with me. So yeah. But yeah, man, it's been a good episode though, man. I think we had some real good
No,
topics.
no.
Definitely.
Exactly. Big that. But I
See
did
all
want to
that.
give a shout out, man. That's why I was just texting my homeboy. He did a repost for us on X, and because of him, like we've reached like our highest numbers ever. We've
Man,
averaged like
appreciate it.
23. So that's why I tell people like that's little stuff like that like it's free, one, but it's dope to see people like just support you in that way. So I just want to say, hey, shout out Spec. I'm gonna put his link, a phenomenal gamer, streamer. It's usually who I network with, part of his community. If I ever need something, that's usually who I go to for as a streaming side. So make sure y'all check him out. Okay, Ashton, we leaving, Papa. We leaving. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Ashton.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he
But
can't hear
yeah,
y'all. So I
I
appreciate y'all.
appreciate you, Spec. But all
Ash
right,
said he
man.
got
Well,
something
it's
to
been a
plug
good
too.
one.
Yes, sir. Hey,
uh,
everybody.
yeah.
You got anything else
Right.
you want to plug, Brax? And I'm about to say, make sure you send me the link for bro
All
books because
right.
one, I want to
Yeah.
order
One
them
more time
myself.
for my military family. You can find them on. They're available on HFC Publishing. HFCpublishers.com. Once again,
So
that's
dope.
Yeah.
HFCpublishers.com. That's it. Yep, for sure.
I bet. Shawn, you
But
got
yeah,
anything, Brody?
I got a quick quote that I heard earlier, and I felt like I just wanted to share that.
Okay.
He said that the quote is my bad. Just because something is hard to get does not make it valuable.
Okay. Hold on.
So I wanted to plug that.
yeah, I've been there before. It's like, when you find out that is Bammer, she wasn't hitting no shit. Made me wait for this. It took me back to my single days. Yeah,
Oh my god.
definitely been there before.
But bet we'll be back with it next weekend. If y'all have any questions, please send them to us. Either one of us. We're even gonna
Suggestions,
try
topics.
to post them more on the socials, get more clips out there and things. And just if
Yeah,
anybody want to
Work
be a
on
guest, like Brax always said, please. I already know one
holla
person
at
that
us.
kind of want to. Just got to make sure the time and link up and everything. But nah, for
Yeah.
real,
People be acting shocked because I be having a
they
lot of
do.
people, and then I be like, "Yeah, we're gonna like,
You
I
give them
don't
a
know what
date,
to
that's when it
say." Be
become
like,
real. They
right,
it.
talk about. I just be in the comments. No.
like,
Come
nah,
on.
you said you wanted to, so come on up here. But yeah,
So,
but all right, y'all.
all right.
All right.